Hey guys, so I know it's been a while. Sorry, I promised a couple videos ago that I was gonna be like back and kicking it and making videos every Sunday, and life happened, so sorry. So a little update, as you can see, I'm not in the same room. I'm at college. So this is my college room. If you guys want to see like a room tour, that'd be cool. I'd do it. So I'm away at school. I'm studying at the University of Iowa. Go Hawks. And since moving here, I've learned a couple things. Number one, I've learned that the roads here suck. If you've ever been to Iowa City, then you will know that sometimes the roads just like are two ways and then all of a sudden it's just a one way and you're heading into oncoming traffic and you are on the brink of crashing head-on with other cars. So that part's a little terrifying. Another thing I've learned is that when my mom said that money goes fast, she was very correct. And I didn't figure that out until I spent $99 on the essentials at Aldi, the grocery store. I've never spent more than like $40 there, so I don't know what I did wrong. And another thing I've learned, whoa, popular. Alright, so another thing I've learned is that meeting people in a new place is pretty difficult when you don't really you don't know anyone. I'm very fortunate to have awesome roommates and a small group of friends that were already like going here when I started going, so that's really cool. But meeting other people is kind of difficult. Another time when meeting people was difficult was about a year ago when I was still in my hometown at my community college and I tried to meet some boys. So as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to share with you guys my awful first experience on Tinder, the ever-famous, world-renowned love app that always is successful, right? Yeah. So I started using Tinder about a year ago. I didn't really know what it was about, but it was kind of like really popular like right around that time. It kind of like was a popular app. It still is, but it was like coming up at that time. So I make a profile and I'm starting to like swipe on these boys and I end up matching a few. Woo. And I start talking to this guy. Let's call him Chris. All right, so me and Chris are chatting and we like are talking on this app back and forth for like a week and a half or so. He gets my number, we're like texting or whatever, and it's going pretty good. We seem to have a lot of common interests and he was cute. He lived a couple towns over for me, so I was digging it. So finally, after talking to him for a while, we decide to meet up. And like I said, he lived a couple towns over for me and that town was really like popular at nighttime. They had like a lot of stuff to do, so it was kind of like the cool hangout town. So we decided to hang out on a Friday night in his town. So I'm getting all ready and like excited to meet this boy because he seemed really cool. Then like an hour before we were planning on meeting, it just starts like downpouring, like a monsoon. And the town we were planning on hanging out with, a lot of the activities you do are like outside because it was summer and like it just wasn't really gonna like work out now that it was like hailing and like raining down awfully. But we were still like really excited to meet each other, so we decided to just go through with it and see if the rain passed, which is dumb. So anyway, I'm driving through this like flood and I get there and I'm texting him like, where should we meet up? Because it's pouring rain and there's nowhere to meet up. So he texts me back and says, oh, just like meet me in the parking garage. And I'm like, KK. Tip number one, never meet anyone in a parking garage at night when it's flooding out. Like, bleh. So I go to this parking garage, he tells me he's already there. I'm terrified. Not even in like the ways I should have been, like I'm meeting a stranger in a parking garage. Like I was like nervous because it was like a date, not because I was scared for my life, which is dumb. So he tells me he's there and I tell him like what car I'm in, and as I'm like getting ready, he texts me back, he says, oh, I see you. And before I have a chance to even like prepare myself, I look in my rearview mirror and see him just like running to my car. So he gets to my car, I'm shaking, but I'm like excited to meet this boy, comes right up to my window. I like open the door and I'm like, hey. And the first thing he says is, I feel like I should kiss you right now. So I like awkwardly dodged it. I was like, oh, maybe not just yet. Ugh. Like I was flattered, but like I don't know you still, so like ugh. So we leave the parking garage and we're kind of just like walking around the parking garage because again it's still raining out, and he's like, what do you want to do? Are you hungry? Mind you, it's like 8:30 at night at this point because we had waited to try to see if the rain would pass and it didn't, so it's like kind of later. So I wasn't hungry, but of course I'm like, yeah, I could eat. So he takes me to this place that I'd actually never been to, and we walk in and it's like a night bar for like businessmen and women. Like it was weird. And we sit down by this window spot and we're like talking a little, ordering food. It takes us like a half hour to decide what we want because it was smart at the time to split a pizza. Dumb, like you don't split food with someone you just met because you don't probably like the same things. So that took forever to do. So finally after we order, we're like having a conversation, just kind of like continuing to get to know each other. I'm asking him questions like, what kind of music are you into? And like, just random stuff. And so he's telling me he's like really into EDM and like he's a DJ on the side and like all this stuff. And at the time I wasn't really into EDM, but I'm not rude, so I was like, yeah, that's really cool, like that's awesome that you're into that. And he returns the question and is like, oh, what are you into? And I was like, just, you know, basic, like honestly, like pop, like top 40 stuff, like I love Ariana Grande and like whatever. And he ruins my whole life, just like attacks me. And he starts saying like, Ariana Grande sucks and like that's so crappy that you like all this like trash music on the radio and that's not real music and bleh. And he wasn't joking. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, yeah, no, for sure, like thank you for ruining my life. And then we just kept going and he asked me like about movies and he loved scary movies, I hated them. Just kept going like that and it just wasn't too great. Our food comes and we're eating it. The conversation starts to go in a better direction. We're talking about our families and stuff, just kind of like finding a common bond. And just when things are getting good, things go even worse than they were before. We were sitting by the front window like I mentioned, and he looks out the window and like knocks on it. And I look because I'm like, what is he knocking at? And there are a couple boys like walking by and he's like waving at them. And these boys are not looking at him even a little bit. And he is pounding on the window like getting their attention. And these boys look at him and they are like so confused. And I look back at Chris and he is giving them like a thumbs up. And I'm like, what? Like he doesn't know them? Like I was confused. I look back and notice that one of the boys is wearing a shirt that says, I heart vagina. So that made me feel really respected and appreciated on my first date with this boy. So I act like I don't see that he just did that, and I take a sip of my lemon water and change the conversation. So we finish our food, he pays for the bill, which I was like, cool, at least you're paying for it. We leave, and I'm thinking like, okay, get out, this is weird, we're not vibing, like done. And then he goes, do you want to get ice cream or something? Again, I'm like not really in the mood, but I'm trying to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, so I agree to go to get ice cream with him. So we run over to this ice cream place and we're standing in line and he's like on his phone and he's just like scrolling through Twitter, just like checking the news feeds. Like I had not taken my phone out from the second I got out of my car because that's just rude to me. Like if you're gonna take time out of my day, like respect my time and try to talk to me. Granted, we weren't really getting along, but still, you know, just give me the benefit of the doubt and give me the attention, okay? We're standing in line and he's like, okay, what do you want to get? We can split something. And again, I'm like, why are we splitting? Like what? And so we decide to split this like large cup of ice cream and cookie dough. And I'm like, I'm not gonna eat a lot of this, but he wanted ice cream, so whatever. I take the cup, I take a bite of it and eat it, whatever. I pass the cup to him and he goes, oh no thanks, I don't really want ice cream. What? Like it was your idea to go get ice cream. Why? And you got a large, dude? Like what? Like I didn't want this. I take like 2 more bites and then I'm like, I'm really full. I just don't want it. And he's like, oh, it's cool, just throw it out. So he throws it out. So we just kind of slowly make our way back to the parking garage and like talk a little, but again, it's just really awful. And to top the whole night off, he goes back to my car and we say goodbye and he says, I'll text you. And I get in my car and I drive off. Later that night I texted him, just out of respect. I said, thanks for the night. It was nice to meet you. Thank you for paying, whatever. He responds with like a book saying like, yeah, sorry our date sucked. You like everything I hate. This will never work out. Like, again, just ruining my life. And I just responded and I was like, I understand. Have a great life. Thanks. So that was my first experience on Tinder. And ever since then, it's just been about the same, if not maybe worse. So that's my story for the day, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, even though it was so awkward and I hated it, but whatever. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Hope you could take it all. I'm too good to you.